the breathers, well, it's breathing. Woo. Super quiet. Sounds really nice actually. Quick swap round, got the Civic on the ramp now. Obviously the MX-5 has just come off. If you want to see that build, then click on the link in the top right hand corner. I've cut out the front splitter now, that's all done. It lines up pretty well, still needs a bit of you know, sanding here and there. There's a little bump there and that sort of thing, but that's pretty good. It needs to be stained black obviously, but I'm going to offer it up and see how we go. So fit the front splitter, got to sort out the exhaust joiner where it goes from the manifold to the main system. It's horrendous, all scraped and yeah, rubbish. We did have a slight leak from the cam pulley seal, so I'll double check that once I run it up, once I've got the exhaust on. Hopefully those breathers will work fine and we won't need to put any like little baffles inside each one. That will be double checked. I'm going to raise the car up as well. We'll get it to a fairly decent ride height. We've got to cut out the front arches. New wheels and tyres gone on, and they're 8J. I think they're plus 25 offset. But we're going to run a spacer at the front. Ollie wants to run a spacer at the front, and we'll be running a spacer at the rear anyway. He's also purchased a few parts from Hard Race. We've got the bump steer correction, track rod ends, and I think these are the studs. Yeah, these are the studs. For some reason, we haven't got long studs on this side or the back, but we have got long studs on the other side. Bit weird. But yeah, these should go in. I'll quickly show you the angle of the arms currently. I don't know how well that's going to come out in the video, but that is the steering arm angle. I mean, that is diabolical. It won't be quite that bad. I'm going to raise the car up, but... oh yeah. Well, I got it apart in the end. It's an adjustable length sort of jobby. This clamp was, well, missing a nut, but obviously that nut's ground into it where it's too low. And this is, you know, it was jammed in there at some awkward angle, so it wouldn't seal very well anyway. So we'll give this a clean up, get it back on. All run up, the oil leak's gone. We had a couple of little water leaks from this shoddy pipe supplied by Mr. Toyo or whatever they are. The clips and the pipe are crap, but apart from that everything looks pretty good. Obviously you can hear that bloody pump. It's like bring back the old school days of the 044. Check the fan works, that's alright. I just lowered the temperature, but it seems to be maintaining a fairly stable temperature. I mean, it's very, very slowly going up. So I'm going to wait until it goes right up, make sure there's no leaks anywhere, make sure the fan's cutting okay. Although they cut in at low temperature, I'll make sure everything's working the way it should. But, I mean, she's still rich, still needs to go on the dyno. Man, that pump. Woo. Yeah, that's loud. Super quiet. Sounds really nice actually. Don't know whether you'll be able to see it or not, but it's just burning off that impregnated oil. Nah, not really. And the breathers, well, it's breathing. So I'll check that breather and make sure that the oil isn't coming straight out of the rocker cover and down in. Once we do a bit on track or we do some pulls on the dyno, I'll just drain it out and make sure there's not too much in there. Everything else seems pretty good. Just check that fan again, or check coolant temperature, make sure the fan's going to definitely cut in. Here's the Hard Race. bump steer correction in place. So that's a lot better. Like I say, we might raise the car up slightly. We'll just see what the clearance is like once the splitter goes on. Just cut out the arches so we got the clearance on the wheels. I've removed the 20mm spacers or 25mm spacers on the front and put a 5mm or 6mm spacer. It still looks fine. I don't really want to run spacers unless I have to. But we're still in line, so it's not an issue. I've just placed this diffuser at the front, splitter. And I'm going to go straight off the original mounts there and just create a big footprint. Basically a nice flat plate, 4 holes in it, that then I can weld up to this. I might make it adjustable so you can get a bit of up and down tilt on it. It's going to be a 250 that way and 150 this way, 4 holes, rounded corners, and then I'll consider what we're going to do with the upright part, which will just be welded on here, and then we'll see, because I could make a whole new plate, but I just think, why bother? It's all there, and you can still use these as toe eyes then. All right, I went ahead and ripped it off. I will make one of these. It's only, what, 5 or 6mm. I've got some 5mm plate. So we'll just put, instead of having that in there, we'll put in a couple of holes, I think, like with the elongated holes that go upwards. So then we can adjust it up and down. Then we just need to think about towing eyes. There's a few places on the front that could potentially be towing eyes. So we'll just have a look. Is it supposed to be bent? No, that's not supposed to be bent. Yeah, so this is all crash damage here. So we'll probably go from this side, and we'll probably come off, yeah, go through both of them, have a towing eye that comes out through the bumper. Seems like the best place. That's hefty to say the least. Sketched it out on E-machine, and we've got 9mm holes for an M8 bolt. Obviously 250 by 150, 10mm radius on all the corners, and then that centerpiece is for the 5mm plate that's going to run through the center of it, and then I'll weld round just so it's got a nice seat in place to go through and you don't have to guess. So there's the original toe eye, which is going to have that other plate sitting across the bottom there, and I've just put the dimensions into E-machine again, put my logo on the bottom. Hopefully that will cut out. It's actually going to be cut out of 6mm, but I made that other gap 7mm anyway for some tolerance there, so I'll just weld round them, not a problem. Got the thick one cut first, so that's 6mm. The accuracy is not too bad. This logo didn't come out too bad in that. We'll throw it on and see how she looks. Well, it's not on, but all the holes line up and the logo looks pretty smart on there, so I'm pretty happy. Obviously it's plasma, so the return side doesn't look so good, but I'll put it on the outside. I'm going to mirror this and then flip it on the CNC, so then it cuts out to look the same the other side. So that's all 4 plates cut out. All I need to do now is get it all to fit. So I welded them up, a little bit of distortion, but that doesn't really matter. I've actually changed it. I've cut it out so it's got clearance on the wheel, but looks pretty good. They're all welded up, no worries. So yeah, just slot the bumper on next. Looking pretty sweet. Just gonna get it stained. Ed will have to clean up this bumper because it's all cracked and broken anyway. I'm gonna have to put a bolt through the outside just to hold it still, probably 1 or 2 through the middle here. And then obviously they got the 4 bolts holding this on anyway. Looks pretty cool from the back. Just about to do the geo, so I've removed the anti-roll bar links so I can corner weight the car. Got to get the rear diffuser. That'll probably just be thrown on the roof with a sheet, and then I'll stick that bumper back on. So yeah, I think we're pretty much there. Rear diffuser on, rear spoiler back on. We did get a proper spoiler for this, like proper rear wing, but it didn't fit, so we'll have to sort that out another time. Everything else is pretty much buttoned up. Everything that's going to be on the car should be on the car now. Just going to put the driver weight in, which is 70 kilos roughly. So first up, we're going to set the ride height now the weight's in the car. Then we're going to do a base geometry to get things roughly right. We'll then get it on the scales with the geometry system still on it, corner balance the car, and then we'll do a final geo to finish up. So on the Civics, they've got quite a nice jacking point, and as long as that's not damaged, they've got front and rear jacking points that come down. You can measure off that, and that can tell you your ride heights, and you can obviously work out your rake front to rear. So I've just measured them off those points. We've got 130 at the front and 145 at the rear, so that gives us 15 mil of rake. We won't know what sort of rake we really need on this car, apart from the fact obviously we don't want it pointing upwards. We prefer it pointing downwards for the aerodynamics. But with the rear diffuser and the front splitter, we should be gaining there anyway. But until we test it on track, we won't know if we want to tilt some of the weight down to the back. There's no front anti-roll bar on this, so it might be a case of trying to put more weight at the rear so it doesn't push on the front. We'll see. Until we get it out on track, we won't really know. So 15 mil rake sounds pretty good to me. I'm happy with that until we know how the car handles and the weight distribution. That's all good. This side though is 5 mil higher than the other side, so I'll correct that now, and then hopefully we'll be able to do the base geo. Tyre pressures are already set, 28 all round. So we've got it on the scales now. This is the final geometry on the rear. This will do. Might want slightly more toe, probably want more camber at the rear, but we'll see how he runs first. We'll see how much weight's over the rear and things like that. On the front, we've got 9 and 7 minutes to toe out. That'll even out till 8 minutes aside. Could need slightly more, but again, we'll just see how we go. 3 degrees camber. Yeah, most likely going to need more there. Maybe 15, 320, depending on how fast he is. Caster's out because this side, I would imagine, is due to crash damage. As you can see, all the front panels had a nice little whack. The other side's pretty stock, so caster, bushes later down the line. Well, she's not as fat as I thought she was going to be. Still quite heavy. These should be down at like the 960 to 980 mark, something like that. And we're at 112, so that's, yeah, jump up. Corner weights came out all right. Obviously you can throw a bit of ballast in there. There's no fire extinguisher at the minute, so that should help. But everything else is pretty much there. Obviously there's no, I think there's maybe 10 litres of fuel in it, something like that, I guess. But pretty happy. Splitter all stained, looks good. Black or ebony in the old wood trade. So I'm going to get that fitted up. Don't forget, if you like what you see, like and subscribe, really helps me out. Pretty happy with the final outcome. Just give them a lick of paint. Obviously black stain on the splitter. Overall looks pretty good. So adjustability, obviously the 3 bolts that go up onto the chassis leg, and you've got quite a bit of tilt there. That's pretty decent amount of tilt. So depending how close you want it to the ground, or the angle or tack you want on the front splitter, got that little bit of adjustment in there, both sides, and then you just tighten out where you want it. Ed needs to do some repair work to the front bumper. I'm going to fit the rest of it up now, but it looks pretty smart. Got the cutouts on the rear arches, obviously the arch extenders that Ed's put on. Front splitter, towing eye. Same on the rear diffuser and towing eye. So she's looking pretty good now, almost finished. There's a few little bits and bobs to do, but yeah, pretty smart. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos, subscribe, hit that bell and get the notifications. You can also check us out on Facebook. The link's going to be in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.